Good morning and welcome to this edition of Market Fatafat. I'm Arvind. Well, we've come off significantly from the high point of the trading day, and as we speak, we're languishing around the 10,800 mark, which in no time could perhaps be given up. The Sensex is down 54 points on the broader end of the market. 2 is where you're seeing a little more selling pressure, down 0.33%. It's IT and banks that's your big casualty. Today is where now dwindling at the lowest point of the trading day. Well, lots to chat about today on the show. We give you a comprehensive wrap of all the stocks to watch. We have Pranay as well as Siddharth joining in. Kunal Bothra and Swati Hotkar with us on the technicals. Well, let's get straight down to it. And no doubt, the stock that we have our eye out on keenly is TCS, the result candidate of yesterday. Well, the company did put out its Q3 numbers where profits rose nearly 2.6%. Margins, though, narrowed the most in the last 6 quarters, and the management has attributed that to the rupee volatility against various currencies as well as the higher cost of doing business in some of the major markets, which led to this kind of a headwind in the quarter this time around. But you also have brokerages which came out with their reports on the company. Macquarie maintains an outperform with the target price at 22.91, saying you should look beyond the near-term margin miss. And we did see a demand commentary as well that has been fairly positive. Jefferies has a buy with a target price of 22.30, saying that the margin has been a bit of a miss, but they have managed to deliver on growth. And Morgan Stanley has an overweight rating as well, saying that the downside risks to the FY20 EPS estimates do exist. Well, after everything, the stock price is down nearly 2%. That's TCS for you in trade. Well, let's shift gears then away from TCS and pull up UPL. And that's a stock that's gaining traction in trade today. In fact, Kunal, do you believe that this is a start of a smart move here on the stock?
Avan, because the stock is staging a bullish flag pattern, and that to spread across the last 3 months. So from 580, 600 levels, when the stock started to rally, that entire rally is now shaping into a bullish flag pattern. It's nearing a breakout of those 3 months pattern. So I believe that could probably result into the stock going into at least a 3 to 4 week uptrend. Would suggest a buy on UPL at current levels, and if the breakout gets confirmed, short-term targets of 810, stop loss to be kept at 765.
All right, watch out for UPL, and it's a buy coming in for the short term. Meantime, the other big newsmaker that's rallying hard and fast is Everready. Let's get in Pranay to give us all of the details. Pranay.
Well, yes, Avan, today's reports indicate that the promoters, Mr. Khaitan Williamson Group led Clutch, they are actually looking to sell out either part or entire stake over here. The promoters currently hold 45% stake, so they would naturally prefer to share about 30% and hold the remaining 10 to 15. But if they get a deal for the entire one, which is more lucrative, they would probably go ahead with that, which is why the stock has seen a strong rally since the opening on very strong volumes.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's the big newsmaker, Everready, and it's certainly in focus. A lot of marquee names envisaging interest. Meantime, KRBL is another mover in trade today. Let's understand where exactly the stock's headed. Double-digit gains. Swati, are you betting here? Swati, your take on KRBL at 323? I don't think she can get my audio. Talking about a volume breakout at 310, and Swati's take is that there's support at that level. Meantime, Arvind is another stock to watch out for. But before we get to that, let's just take note of the flashes as well that are coming in on your screens. This is with respect to the paper industry. The Commerce Minister coming out with some commentary saying that they need to manage the issues of providing pulp to the paper industry, and that the trade policy should encourage more and more manufacturing in the country. They are going to look to even sign some trade agreements if the domestic industry does not have a problem with it. Just pull up some of the paper stocks as well and see how they're reacting to that positive news. Not too much of a reaction coming in on JK or West Coast paper. TN Newsprint as well as Orient paper continue to look a little bit tempered, but nonetheless steps in a positive and right direction for the paper industry. Moving right on then to Arvind, and it's pretty strong moves that you're seeing in this stock. Siddharth, take us through the F&O data.
Well, instead of strong move, I would say that stock is all over the place and it's slightly flat to negative bias right now. But then what's interesting is volumes. What's interesting is the open interest built up. So highest open interest built up in futures segment, more than 20% rise in open interest in Arvind. At the same time, if you see the cash volumes in first 2.5 hour Avan are at 1 month high, so you can understand the kind of activity which the stock is showing. The stock has been in sideways to slight negative bias since last 3-4 weeks or more. And if after such a strong consolidation, if there is so much of volatility with so high volumes, then it is poised for a breakout. Upside or downside, that we can't say, but then generally after such consolidation, if there is so high volume and stock is not cracking, then generally the breakup is on the upside. So keep eye on Arvind. There's something which is happening and you will see strong move in the stock. You know, watch out for those levels of 105. That has been a strong resistance.
Okay, certainly keep an eye out on that stock. That's Arvind for you. Meantime, it's IT that is one of the weakest sectors in trade today, and they're continuing its downward movement. Tata Elxsi, in fact, is one of the stocks that is under pressure. So, Kunal, technically, how does one approach it?
So yeah, I think the stock is now almost at a 3-month low. I think it's broken those October lows closer to 950, 955 levels. The chart patterns are a bit, I would say, negative for Tata Elxsi. It's on the verge of, testing its very strong support levels. 930 to 945 or 950 has been acting as a major support for Tata Elxsi over the last 5-6 months. So, and it's testing this support now for the 4th or the 5th time in the last 6 months. So I believe that this could be a very crucial test. If the stock holds on to this support level, you could see the stock maybe bouncing back to 1050 levels. But if the support breaks, then you could see a sharp correction to the stock price. So this support is where a trader should be taking positions accordingly. If the support breaks, go short. If it holds on, I think build long positions. Okay,
interesting. Those are some observations there on Tata Elxsi as the stock is at 955, languishing near its 3-month lows. Praj Industries, meantime, is a stock that is quite active in trade today. In fact, in the last 5 trading days, it's up for the 4th straight day on the trot. In fact, they're looking to expand their overall bioenergy basket. They're saying that the G-Bio refiners for the OMCs are on track and that compressed gas is will add to the tech basket. They're executing 3 commercial plants for the Indian OMCs. And what a smart rally that you're seeing. It's one of the top gainers as well within the cap goods arena, 148 and counting. Meantime, Infy as well, and Pranay, all eyes on this IT major as well as it will be declaring its numbers. Take us through what exactly the ET Now poll is estimating in terms of the numbers as well as the guidance and margins.
We're expecting 2% growth in revenue on constant currency terms. That's actually expected to be better than TCS. And on the margin front, though, it may not really be better. We are expecting a dip of about 20 basis points. But compared to a good performance that was expected for TCS on the margin front where they have disappointed, chances are that Infosys will also experience the same headwinds of higher employee costs and subcontracting expenses. So because of the concern that its margins may actually dip more than expected, the stock is trading a little soft in trade despite the buyback which is expected to be announced up to a size of 10,400. The hope is that if it comes at a price of about 730, which is a 10% premium from the current level, then that will bring some energy into the stock and it will be about 3.3% of the equity. So it's likely going to be range bound before the results.
Okay, keep an eye out on Infy at 675. All eyes on what the company delivers. Meantime, it's Adani and Transmission that is a stock that's buzzing away in today's trading session, 3.5% nearly. Swati, let's understand, why do you believe it's a buy candidate?
See, one particular, if we check the daily chart, the stock is particularly trading above all the important moving averages, say 50, 100, 200 DMA. So it indicates a very bullish view. Today we have seen a very consolidation breakout. The stock has given about 214 along with a decent volume. So I believe this stock likely to continue its rally towards 240 to 250 level. So one can definitely take a buy call at the current level with a stop loss of 215 for a target of a 240 to 250 levels on the upside.
All right, buy recommendation, stop loss 215. Meantime, another weak link in trade today, and that's from the IT pocket, and that is Hexaware at 314. Siddharth, tell us about some of the key support zones.
Well, TCS numbers were pretty decent and Street is not very perturbed by that. But then margins were under pressure. And if company like TCS is struggling to keep up with the margin, then mid-cap IT would have problem. And that's the reason, since last 1 week you're seeing that some or other IT stock is forming huge formation of short positions, and today it's turn of Hexaware, fresh formation of short positions over there. It's very near to its strong support of 310, 312 Avan. If that breaches, then we are talking about further downside in this thing.
Alright, keep an eye out on this fresh formation of short positions being seen Hexaware at 315. ICICI Pru meantime, Kunal, you're seeing some sort of a price volume breakout?
Yes, Avan, this is the fourth straight day of price gain, but the last 3 days have been extremely crucial because the stock has seen some heightened volume action in the last 3 days, including today. And the candlestick patterns have been quite bullish because the stock tends to close at the higher end or the upper end of the range on an intraday basis. Those are kind of chart patterns which generally indicates that this is a new trend in the making for ICICI Pru. Would suggest a buy even at current levels, and if the stock provides a short-term dip, targets of 380 and stop loss to be kept at 340.
Alright, those are some important levels that Kunal is advising, seeing some interesting movement there on ICICI Pru, which is up about 2%. Meantime, let's pull up a KNR Construction as well, and this stock is active in trade today after the company's arm, which is KNR Shankaram Pet project, has received the financial closure. This is from NHAI for a road project in Telangana. The project, worth a bid price of nearly 12,350 crores, includes work for a 4-laning of one of the roads in Telangana of the NH 161, and the construction period is close to 2 years with a concession period of 17 years. Take a look at that stock at 218. Meantime, at number 13, let's understand why Tata Motors is in focus yet again. And Pranay, what's the latest when it comes to the job cuts, etc.?
Well, the stock is weak because its premium subsidiary JLR has cut the workforce by about 4,500 globally in the face of multiple challenges that they're facing. Also, the December JLR number in terms of retail sales has been weak, showing a decline of about 6.5%, and that is something that's weighing on the stock, which has otherwise seen a good run in the last few days.
Alright, 182, no surprises there to see weakness in the stock price. Moving right on then, ABB as well as a stock to watch out for. Let's understand, Swati, what exactly is your assessment here? Do you believe that it's going to be some sort of a slow and gradual move on the upside? What's the take?
See, Avan, as of now from the last 7 to 8 trading session, we have seen that the stock is continuous on a selling pressure, but today we have seen some bounce back rally from at least nearby 200-day moving average towards 50 and 100 DMA. Currently there is a cluster resistance at 1340 level, so once it manages to clear out, then only we will see some upward trend on this particular counter. But at the current level, definitely we will be cautious. Those who are having any long positions, they can definitely book their profits at the current levels.
Alright, that's ABB for you at 1330 in today's trading session. Support at 1310, says Swati. And to number 15 then, and that is from the aviation space. We're talking about Interglobe Aviation. So that, what's the observation?
Well, observations are negative. Firstly, there is a very sharp bounce back in crude oil price, so that's having a negative impact on Indigo. Now, stock was consolidating, coming down slightly, but we didn't see any formation of short positions. Now, today, the case is different. Now, as we speak, stock is at lowest point of the day. We are seeing 7 to 8% rise in open interest, which means that these are formation of short positions. And stock, Avan, is coming below its 200 DMA, which is not a good news. Not necessarily that it will have a huge correction or so, but previously the correction was not happening because of formation of short, but today we are seeing formation of short.
Alright, that's the view coming in at the lowest point of the trading day. It's a negative observation. On that note, we take a quick break right here on the show. Do stay with us. On the other side, we've got a whole host of stocks to watch out for. Welcome back to Market Fatafat. 10,785. We've reached the 10,800 level on the downside, and the mid-cap index is now down 0.5%. Well, let's move on to some of the casualties. And REC, well, that seems to be bucking the trend though in trade today. Let's understand what the take is on the charts. Kunal, where are you placing your targets and stop losses here?
So REC has been recovering quite well in the last 3 weeks. From I think sub 100 levels to almost 120, 123 where it's currently trading. Now, in the process of doing that, it's forming again, a similar kind of chart pattern which you discussed earlier, a bullish flag pattern. It's on the verge of a breakout of this pattern, but I believe it's because of the market remaining sideways the stock is not witnessing a breakout. But I believe over the next couple of days you should see the stock heading towards this 123, 124 breakout level. That on a strong conviction basis. So I believe RSC could be a buy. Targets of 132 plus and stop loss to be kept at 120.
Okay, keep an eye out. That's the latest coming in on the stock. Meantime, let's pull up Bandhan Bank as well, because that stock is in news. On the back of results, there have been quite a few brokerage recommendations as well. Macquarie has downgraded the stock to an underperform rating, saying that there's a target price at 400 rupees. The company has a capital allocation overhang and that the promoter stake overhang will likely put pressure on the bank going forward. In fact, the stock is down nearly 2% in trade. You had the profits which rose nearly 10% in the quarter gone by this time around. But more importantly, it was driven by the loans in the small and medium enterprise individuals. They missed expectations as its only large corporate loan to IL&FS turned sour. In fact, let's hear out what the management has to say.
There is one large infrastructure account we have. There is 384.95 crores that is balance, and that we are 100% provisioned in this quarter. After that 100% provision of 385 crores on that, bank have been done the profit in this quarter 331 crores, which is year-on-year growth is in 10%. Gross NPA 1.3%. If we not count as a big exposure, whatever we are declared as.
Okay, that's the word coming in on Bandhan Bank. The stock is down. Meantime, let's talk about Jet Airways in Pranay. Looks like it's back to square one.
Yes, given the cash crunch that they are facing, you're already seeing tickets being offered up to 50% of the current prices. Clearly, they don't have enough time, and therefore reports indicate that stake sale talks with the Tata Group is being revived so that a stronger partnership can be established. Otherwise, it's going to be a really hard landing for Jet Airways.
All right, that's something to keep an eye out on. Jet Airways at 247. Let's watch out then for RCF as well and see where that stock is headed. Swati, where are you seeing resistance here?
See, as of now, the daily chart Avan indicates that from the last 8 to 9 months, the stock is continuously trading below its 200-day moving average, which comes to at the current level comes to at 68 levels. So it's facing a very strong resistance of 200 DMA. Once it manages to give a breakout of that level, then only the view will be a change from cautious to say positive levels. But at the current level, 68 is the strong resistance levels. For those who are having a long positions, they can hold on with the trailing stop loss of a 64, which is the cluster supports levels on the daily chart. So with the help of a stop loss of a 64, definitely one can hold their long positions for immediate target of a 68 to 70 levels on the upside.
All right, that's the take coming in, 2% down on RCF. With that, we're completely out of time, so we'll wind it down on this edition of Market Fatafat. Many thanks for watching. We've got markets at noon. That's coming up after a very short break.